Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, joined here by my good colleague and pal, who's also battling a little bit of a cold, Mr. Brian E. Roach. But Brian, I know I was going to ask how you're feeling, maybe a little down or under the weather, but thanks for joining us otherwise.
I'm grumpy. That's how I feel. I'm not because of the schedule, not because of any Steelers-related news. I'm just grumpy because I have a cold, and the last time I went out and rode my bike, I felt like crap, and it annoys me.
Yeah, I am a little grumpy about the schedule. I'm just like, these are our first impressions for this. Flash already went on the X or the Twitter, took our lead for predictions and put W for everything, including the bye week, which is week 5, I think, as early as it could possibly be. Are there week 4 buys too? I don't remember what the 18-week schedule and 17 games now, but regardless, I always feel like they find a way to screw the Steelers and favor someone else, and we'll go through that with my initial reactions to this. When we take a look at this overall, let me see if I can get at least some of the Steelers schedule up on the screen, and let me shut off the little fancy doodads in the way, and here we go. And I mean, we'll go through all of this.
Hey, look, that's the whole thing. You got the whole thing.
The show's
Amazing.
over. Yeah, well,
that's it. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Have a wonderful weekend.
Don't forget to tip your server. Well, you know what? I wanted to show that for a reason, because it's easy to illustrate here. Most of you have already seen this. You just want to hear what we think about it, but we're kind of excited about that week 4, right? The Minnesota Vikings. I'm not sure if I'm excited about playing the Vikings necessarily. They were very hot last year, but this is the Dublin game. This is breakfast for people on the East Coast, and it's going to be a nice trip for Steelers Nation. Also, there's a lot of Vikings fans that attended last year when they played the Bears in London. They're actually going to stay over and play the following week. I'll get into that in a second as well. But when we look at this, okay, and you're looking at this from one way we look at this a lot of times is you and I, season ticket holders, we attend a lot of home games. We think about travel because we're not in the immediate Pittsburgh area. I'm nowhere close to is where I used to be, where I was only an hour away. And when I look at that, and it's like, well, once again, can't have an opening game at home because of the stupid Pirates, poverty franchise, 30-plus losing seasons or whatever. Oh, they were in the postseason at one point here about a decade ago, I think. But you get the idea. The Pirates, they always have this early afternoon game or 1 o'clock, like on a Sunday or whatever, and it just screws the Steelers where, they share the same parking lots, and now Pittsburgh's usually on the road. Very rare. Steelers, like once every 10 years, get a game that week 1. But it's also like Pittsburgh isn't known for having the best of weather consistently. You will experience 12 different seasons in Western Pennsylvania and throughout, parts of Ohio. And then you get into the Midwest. Pennsylvania, not in the Midwest, but Western Pennsylvania, a little bit different weather, right? You're going to experience hot, cold, whatever. And I look at this schedule, I'm like, well, what games can I wear a short sleeve shirt and shorts to? Maybe one. Maybe that week 2 home opener against the Seahawks, September 14th, 1 o'clock. But they play like one true home game. I mean, the Dublin game is technically the Steelers are designated home, but they got to travel to Ireland to play this game. They got to go across the pond. So with all that travel, in the first 4 weeks, just the one game at Acrisure, that's kind of taxing for the first quarter of football.
Yeah. I mean, look. I'm still stuck on the 12 seasons thing. I'm trying to figure out is this like Hobbit meals, like second breakfasts and whatnot? Like I don't know. I don't know where you're living that there are 12 seasons. I'm confused.
Oh my goodness, yes there is. There's like fake fake fall or something, and there's like fake spring, like you get a little bit of a heat wave and then all of a sudden it snows after it. And especially in Ohio, we experience these things sometimes in the same day. So we most certainly, it is like the hobbits eating their meals. Every time you mention that, you've mentioned it on the show before, I think of the old Taco Bell commercials where you get fourth meal. He used to talk about fourth meal all the time.
They did.
Perfect for after the bar scene when I was a much younger lad who used to partake in, staying up later. But regardless, that's part of this too when you travel. I look at the primetime games and everything, and I'm going to talk about the other AFC North teams. So I think let's kind of go through this first. And I think that the schedule makers have an inkling that Mr. Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers may be coming and signing with the Steelers because they put the Jets as the first game of the season. That's a home opener for the Jets. I don't know if New York Jets fans are as lively and into their team and how hard of a ticket that might be to get. They might just go to boo Aaron Rodgers if he is with the Steelers. If not, you still have a matchup of a former quarterback in Justin Fields who signed with the Jets, now facing his former team, the Steelers. So they do still have kind of a storyline there.
Yeah, I don't think I would go to that game regardless because I'm not going to New York to watch football. I'll stay home. But yeah, I don't know that they know. I don't think anybody knows. I still don't think anybody knows what he's going to do. And I think they're just planning for the potential inevitability that he may show up.
Yep. Always storylines, especially with the 1:00 games. Week 1, those first few weeks, you don't have buys. That's, that's red zone heaven right there. There'll be like 7 or 8 games going at 1:00. Although, you know what? I do say that, but we've got the international games now too. I think the Brazil game might be that Friday. So you've got the Cowboys and Eagles for the opener on Thursday, and then there's like a Friday game. So I, pump my brakes on that, but it's like one extra game. Oh, okay. So there's like 7 or 8 going. Then the West Coast ones or whatever.
I'm glad they're not going to Brazil. I think I'd get in trouble if I went to Brazil.
Why is that?
Because all I can think of is that Terry Gilliam movie Brazil, and so I would just wander around going Brazil, and somebody would hit me,
and they wouldn't understand you because you'd be speaking English instead of Portuguese. So, anyways, yeah, I don't really want to. I don't know, man. Like sometimes I think about these trips. We've discussed a possible pairing and going to Ireland kind of thing. You were just there for personal reasons, or maybe just for fun
Scotland.
Or whatever. But
I was in Ireland 15, 16 years ago.
UK. You were in the UK, so you made a similar trip last year. I don't know. I think of it. I'm like, would I go to London? I don't know. If the opportunity presents itself, yeah, maybe I'll go. Brazil? I don't know. It's never been on my bucket list. That's just me personally. Nothing against Brazil.
People naked on the beaches down there.
I mean, there's people naked on the beaches probably in Ohio. It doesn't mean they're allowed, but...
That's not a good thing. That should not be allowed.
Yeah, it might not be the people you want to see, though.
Yeah, certain places in the country you don't want nude beaches at.
You might not want to see some of the people that are there nude either. So, anyways, moving on. Seahawks got to come over and play a 1:00 game coming off the West Coast for a home opener. That always tends to be advantageous for the Steelers. I'll say that's one the schedule makers may have given them. Seattle having some turnover this year, quarterbacks, whatnot, the whole team. DK Metcalf, revenge game. But this is a team, much like the Steelers, that are usually, their heads above water. They're usually at least 500. They're usually a playoff team. 9 or 10 wins last year, but didn't make the postseason because of the way the divisions played out. They were the odd man left holding the bag. So that could be a rough game. In fact, some of these look a little rougher than others. And, with the Jets, I'd be like, hey, you know what? I think Justin Fields going to have his hands full, especially like week 1, no matter how much preparation that you end up giving either side. Steelers defense, I think more of a cohesive unit with some familiarity there. Week 2, Seahawks, that could be an interesting game. Then they go on the road and play the New England Patriots. It's another team where you don't really know what to expect. Mike Vrabel taking over after, if I can't remember his name. That was the coach last year. Lasted 1 year, but Drake May in year 2 there. So still a team that's very much in transition. Steelers, they could have a pretty good start to this season, I would think. There's no reason to believe that no matter who the quarterback is, that they couldn't be able to eke out maybe ugly football games, as we say, extension of preseason early in September. Maybe they could be 2-1 or 3-0 to kick this one off.
I will tell you, I will be surprised if they end up 3-0. And I don't care whether Aaron Rodgers shows up or not. I'll still be surprised if they end up 3-0. Not because it's because I expect it to be ugly football. I don't know how potent the offense is going to be yet. We'll have to wait and see. Like this early on, I'm only basing myself off of last year, and last year, without certain quarterbacks, didn't look very pretty. And those games that they won could have easily gone the other direction and lost. You can't count on the defense to get the turnovers. You can't count on the defense to score points in order to win games. You hope they will, but you can't count on it. So if I'm looking at this, I think from a flip side, you break this season down, they could easily go 0-3 or 3-0 or any version in between. I just don't have enough information to make a reliable expectation yet.
Well, I have enough information on my own. I still think that the Patriots and Jets won't have it as figured out just yet. So it's not like the Steelers are coming out of the gate with, wait do we look at the Ravens schedule to start. And there are some things that definitely favor them, but the opponents on that schedule, the first 5 or 6 weeks, pretty rough. We already mentioned week 4 at in Dublin, Ireland, international game, Minnesota Vikings, and then the early bye, which I'm not a fan of whatsoever. This is just, this is nonsense. This is like, after what they did to him last year, it's just nonsense.
I'm just looking at it this way. You had to go in international travel, and then you got a bye week. I can live with that. It's early. Yes, it's early. I can live with it. I mean, look, would I rather it was 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later? Sure. I'd rather it split the season a lot nicer. But if you have to have it early, I'd rather have it after the Ireland game.
Yeah, and I was going to show you the Browns, although you got to kind of squint to see this one because it's fitting on the screen. I apologize for that, but they go through, and for whatever reason, their social media people decided, aside from the goofy elf mascot revealing their schedule, they decided instead of going left to right, they were going to be maniacs and go up and down in the columns to show us where the Browns were playing. So they have the Bengals at home, the Ravens on the road, the Packers at home, the Lions on the road, and then go in week 5 while the Steelers are on their bye week to play the Vikings in London. Yow, man, is that a gauntlet and a half? So they have 2 division games out the gate. Then they play 3 playoff teams from the NFC North, and then have to come to Pittsburgh after the Steelers are already on a week 5 bye to play week 6 at Acrisure Stadium. That is a very rough start for the Cleveland Browns.
Agreed.
I'm not sad about it necessarily. So,
there you go.
see.
World's smallest violin playing just for Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see if I'm going to try and see if I could get, nope, I can't get theirs to stretch any bigger than what it is, but I actually somehow made it worse, but it's already not visually appealing. And since I have this up, I wanted to float through. I'm going to show you, we talk about.
You're right. That was worse.
It is
definitely worse.
It is worse. I apologize. I will take care of it at some point here. So, regardless, the worst schedule that you're going to see out of these in the lack of graphic design. So we got the Ravens one, pretty sharp. They put their team players on there. Look, they got all the logos. It's nicely highlighted. You can tell what's home and what's away, right? It's their team colors. I mean, it's enough to make me want to vomit, but, it's very visually appealing. And we saw what the Browns were. It was their ugly colors, visual style. We saw the Steelers one. But behold, the power of is paint still a thing on Windows? Because that's what the Bengals graphics department came up with. They sent this over to like one of these sites where they do the work for you for a few dollars. Or they might have did it in Word.
That's not even paint.
Like
that's PowerPoint at best.
It's so bad. I'm like, this cannot be what their social media team came up with. And I mean, you've got very clever things that people come up with. I mean, like I said, I was making fun of the brownie.
Right. Let's speak about that then.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the Sasquatch attack season. Like, I usually think those release videos are just stupid, but I actually enjoyed the Sasquatch video. And how many of you, raise your hand, how many of you knew that was Cam Hayward before the reveal at the end? That would be me. I for sure did.
That's so crazy. I absolutely, I love some of it. I'm not going to say I love all of it. So, all right, I think I got this. Nope, still didn't work. Oh, well, I'm just going to leave it for now, and we'll keep going with the Steelers one. So, the Steelers do have the advantage against the Browns there, and then they got to travel and play a Thursday night game against another division opponent on the road with the Bengals in Cincinnati. It's like, come on, man. It's like you got the bye and then you run right into this. You know what I mean? At least they had the break before and play at home against the Browns. But now you got to go and play. That's like almost like, you know, the deck's stacked. We always say that. You got to play on the road Thursday Night Football. Pack it in, especially when it's a division opponent.
Plus, it's not a game you end up going to, right? Cincy is a game, at least for you, that's fairly easy to go to. But not on a Thursday.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm still trying to get it to... We cannot get the graphics department to work today, folks. I apologize. But so a little bit of a break, and then there's a Sunday night game, October 26th, and Week 8 against the Green Bay Packers. This one is at home. It's the one time the Steelers have back-to-back home games. It's the first of 2 games stand. They have no other back-to-backs on the schedule unless you count Ireland game, which, you know, does count if you're, you know, I'm still not counting it as a home game. I'll just say neutral site.
It's not. They don't live in Ireland, so
no,
it's not
they don't. And then a bye week, and then the Browns, so they still have to travel, right? But the big news from Art Rooney was new throwback jerseys. We don't know what they are yet; they haven't been revealed, being worn for this game. So I guess we will see what they cook up. He said throwbacks, though. So the throwbacks were the block numbers. I don't know if that replaces the color rush. There's some speculation that they're going to wear the all white. They're going to get the white pants out. The Steelers don't wear white at home. So I just don't see that. It would blow my mind if that happened.
That would be very unappealing. That would be confusing. I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, it would be.
I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm all in on Bumblebees. Bring back the Bumblebees. That's a throwback. It's the best throwback. It's the most awesome. Bring back the Bumblebees.
Yeah, I'd bring them back too. I was a big fan of those. I didn't like the khaki pants with them. Like the roadside numbers, it's okay. You just have to remember the era that they were designed for. So
nobody cares about pants. Pants are pants. Who cares about pants? When did you go buy a pair of Steelers pants, right? When did you buy a uniform set of pants that you could wear? No, you buy a jersey, right? Who cares about pants?
You gotta smants. Look good, play good is the mantra, and they just don't look good with those khakis.
7 touchdowns in those pants, like twice.
If we get rid of the puke color pants,
schmants.
We've got the graphic a little bigger on the screen, thankfully. So now you can all read it. November 2nd, Steelers will go back to a 1:00 Sunday game, hosting the Indianapolis Colts. A very what do you want to say? Common opponent for like the last 5 years. I feel like they've played in Indy, I think 3 times at least.
I feel like they're just part of the AFC North now. Aren't they? Don't we just have 5 teams now? And the Colts are one of them?
It totally feels that way. I've been to Indy 2 out of the 3. I didn't go when Trubisky started because I was like, why would I, just throw money? I too like to wipe my posterior with dollar bills because I just have that kind of disposable cash, right? So I am like, I'm not going there for that. But I wanted to, I'm going to bounce back a second. I was going to bring back was it the Browns? Well, you're still not going to be able to quite see it on the Browns schedule, but I wanted to make this point with Cleveland because we're going to boomerang back around to them at some point. Aside from the division games, everything that's played out, they don't have a primetime game, right? The Steelers are going to go, and the next game's going to be, they're going to be in LA. They're going to play the Chargers Sunday night. Cleveland doesn't play a Sunday night game. They don't play a Thursday night game. They don't have a Monday night game. They have 2 games right now that are scheduled in the 4 o'clock window, and everything else is a Sunday at 1. That is just, it's absolutely mind-blowing that the schedule makers could cook this up. I'm just like, it just doesn't seem fair.
It has more to do with it being Cleveland than it does anything else.
So, I mean, there's the best. I mean, this burns my retinas to try and read this. and then it's not left to right like everyone else's. So it's like, it's all over the map there, right? So that's my initial reaction. They're away games. I think the 4 o'clock games, let me see. I'm looking at this properly. There's just the
Raiders.
Ravens at home. And then the Raiders right after it. So those games are back to back. You talk about being creature of habit and getting into routines. I mean, we don't know that their quarterback situations could be any better than ours, but it kind of helps when you don't have to travel as much. You get some back to back. They have 2 sets of back to back home games. And when you look at the end of their schedule, they get to play 4 of the last 6 at home also. Bye week right in the middle of the schedule. So when you hear me complaining about a little bit of this when it comes to the Steelers, a little bit of valid points here when it comes to the way that their schedule is structured, because in the second half of the season, this ends up being pretty brutal. You've got some playoff teams here. You got to, it's that, and we're talking about this on paper, right? So we don't know how anybody's going to be right now. We're basing it off of last year. But the beginning of the season, there's probably some winnable games there. We don't know what the Colts are. Chargers, they were a playoff team. They're competitive. You get to host the Bengals at home again, week 11. Then these are 1 o'clock games now. You got a 1 o'clock at Chicago on November 23rd. And then hosting the Buffalo Bills right after Thanksgiving. And that's in the 4 o'clock window. And then you finish the season by traveling to Baltimore, a Monday night game against the Miami Dolphins at home. Short week, go to Detroit. At least it's in a dome for December 31st, also in the 4 o'clock window. Travel to Cleveland, December 28th. That'll be colder than a you-know-what, man. And then hosting the Ravens in a to-be-determined game to finish the season and close that out at Acrisure. But there's only 1 home game against the Dolphins. For a night game, it's not even good. You don't have the sun out. You don't get the normal complement of tailgating. You might not get the same amount of fans. Who knows what the Steelers even look like by that point. It might benefit the Steelers that the Dolphins are coming there, and it could be not the best of weather. I don't know. It's early December, so I don't know which of the 12 seasons we get by then. I know it's not Hell's Front Porch that happens in July, but I mean, I just look at it and I'm just like, it's quite the juggernaut where you've got, the Bengals. Okay, we don't know about the Bears. So Chargers, Bengals, Bears, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns, Ravens. And we know playing the Ravens after playing the Browns is probably going to be a pretty difficult contest. Although the Ravens themselves, they get to kind of trade that off. I think the Browns and the Bengals will play each other too. So they'll finish the season. So it does finish with some divisional games. Maybe they'll matter. Maybe they won't. I don't know. So.
I looked at this yesterday when I was looking through the schedule, and my initial thoughts were, is it as bad as last year's? No. Is it good? No. But look, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know how I'm feeling about this season yet, right? I don't know whether I'm convinced that the Steelers are going to have a winning record and fail in the playoffs, have a winning record and win a playoff game. I've said repeatedly, I don't think they're contenders this year. I don't think they can go all the way, but I don't know where I put them, right? So I look at this schedule, and in viewing it, there are very few gimmies on this schedule.
Yeah.
If any, right? This is not an easy schedule by any stretch. It's not. The end of the season, as bad as it is not like last year's end of season, right? It is not that kind of a gauntlet.
And no Christmas game, no Thanksgiving game. So I'm very
glad, no holiday games. I'm glad about that.
Thankful for that. And
no December 31st game.
Thursday game is on the road. So, you're not trying to come out for that. I might go just because it's about an hour-ish from my place. Real easy to get to. Depends on what the ticket's like. Depends if the Bengals, are they a team like last year? They were giving them away because they had to win everything after they lost to the Steelers. Like, they were a loss away from making the playoffs. It was like 7 games, right? And their fan base was just like, well, they gave up on them, like, as they do. They're very fair weather there. I defy anybody to tell me otherwise, that Cincinnati is not Ohio State territory versus Bengals territory. It is most certainly Buckeye territory, right?
Cam Hayward was on, I don't remember which show. It might have been his podcast. It might have been one of the things with Ryan Clark. But he was on there and he said the biggest team in Ohio is the Ohio State Buckeyes, right? It's big. They're bigger than the Browns. They're bigger than the Bagels. And I, as an Ohio native, and you live in Ohio as an Ohio native, I'm just telling you, that's the facts, Jack.
Yeah. And I know people will forever be like, oh, it's like, I don't broadcast, and I'm an Ohio guy, born and raised, but I used to live 5 minutes from the Pennsylvania state line. Like, I could ride my bike over it. It was actually kind of cool. The marker was right on the corner, like an intersection. It was rural. It's kind of neat, reminiscing here. But okay, I went through the Browns. They have maybe more gimmies, and then we're going to get into the Bengals and the Ravens schedules here.
Wait, stop there.
Yep.
The Browns. Is it even possible to say the Browns have a gimme? The Browns are the gimme. Right? Look, I don't know how good they're going to be. I just don't know. Look, they got 17 quarterbacks, and they don't know which one's starting. I don't know. We'll see.
You know what? Valid points. I'm always trolling them. The reason I'm saying more gimmies because I think there's more question marks as to the teams they're playing. They've got Bengals, Ravens, Packers, Lions, Vikings, Steelers. Those are all tough. Then you got the Dolphins at home. They got the Patriots. I don't know what the Patriots look like. A bye week. They go to the Jets. Back at home with the Ravens. Go to the Raiders. Don't know who the Raiders are. 49ers, I believe, will bounce back in a big way this year, provided they're healthy, right? Titans, they're still kind of a quagmire. Bears, I'm not sure if Ben Johnson turns them around. Then it's Bills, Steelers, Bengals. So they have a chunk in the middle of that schedule where things could get interesting if they figure stuff out. I don't know that it's necessarily the same way with the other teams in the AFC North. We start with the Bengals. They're in Cleveland. The Bengals are not a very good team to start the season either. Host Jacksonville. Then they got to go to Minnesota and Denver. Back-to-back games. They're both playoff teams. Monday night for Denver. They host Detroit, 4 o'clock at home. Go to Green Bay for a 4 o'clock window. Before they come to Pittsburgh and host for the Thursday night game. So the one thing that is favorable here for the Steelers is they didn't just give them a bye week, ahead of the Thursday night game or something like that, or they weren't playing at home. They do have some travel. They do have a difficult opponent. However, I can't say that about the rematch with the home and home series as we go through this. They host the Jets, 1 o'clock. They host the Bears, 1 o'clock. They get a bye week and then visit the Steelers fresh off a bye. That's going to prove to be a little difficult for the Steelers. I think they're going to, especially a fresh Joe Burrow. Now, like the Ravens, they have 2 Thursday night games. So by virtue of the Browns not having any, I guess the Browns are like Oprah. Here, you can have our Thursday night game. Everybody can have a Thursday night game. So as mentioned, the bye week, they visit the Steelers. They host the Patriots. Then another short week, Thursday night at Baltimore. So that doesn't do them a lot of favors. Then they get a little bit of a mini bye before going to Buffalo. They host the Ravens again. That's brutal, man. A Thursday in Baltimore, mini bye because of the Thursday game off the short week against the Ravens. Then the Bills, then the Ravens again before they go to Miami December 21st, and then a to be determined with the Arizona Cardinals. They finished the season at home, back-to-back home games, Cardinals and then Cleveland Browns. But man, going to Miami after you have that slugfest with the Ravens too, players are gonna be vomiting. Like the change in climate after playing a December 14th game in Baltimore and then going down to Miami. We've seen it many times. Teams just kind of, they're sluggish. They're sluggish in that heat. Although I will say this much, and we know it doesn't matter. Maybe December it will. it was hot for a Sunday night football game in Miami when we were there. I was sweating.
It was, absolutely.
I was sweating just standing there, sitting there watching, right? But that one is a primetime game also. So maybe that will help them kind of cope a little bit with the conditions there in Florida, southern Florida. Now we take a look at the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm going to try, I think I got this as large as I can maybe make it. They start with Sunday Night Football right out the gate. They have, they're away at Buffalo on the road. Week 2 at home against the Browns. Another home game, but Monday Night Football against the Lions, and then travel to Kansas City. That's a pretty tough slate of 4 games, but you add into that they then have the Texans and the Rams right after that. Now, those are home games too. So they have 4 of their first 6 games at home. 2 of those games are in prime time. That's a pretty tough start to the schedule for them, other than they have the benefit of playing in Baltimore before week 7 bye.
Here's what I want to go back to at that.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to that. Look at weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8.
I know,
That's
man.
4 straight weeks at home.
Well, it's the bye week in the middle of it too, so they have 2 at home, bye week, and then
straight
Bears.
Weeks at home. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I looked at that and I said, well, do you want to do them any more favors? Well, they go from the Bears to playing Thursday night in Miami. It's like, why do the Steelers always have to play an AFC North opponent on Thursday nights? Now, they're going to have to when they get the Bengals for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
And they go to Miami. Same thing we were just saying about the Bengals. A little warmer because it's like October. It's definitely going to be warmer than it will be in December, but still warmer than what it is in Maryland. And the mini bye, they go to Minnesota and then Cleveland. So then they get 3 on the road, although they get a bye week home game. And then Thursday night with the mini bye, they get a little bit of built-in cushion there. And it's just like, really? So they get the Vikings, they get the Browns. And then do you see what else transpires here? They have the Jets at home, the Bengals at home for Thanksgiving, so that's a short week, and then a mini bye before another home game against the Steelers. So they have multiple 3-game, they have 2 of them. Even though there's some Thursdays in there. Come on, man. Then they go to the Bengals, host the Patriots, and then they have 2 road games to finish, Green Bay and Pittsburgh. So that's a little tough sledding at the very end. And December 21st in New England, who knows what that could look like too. So there's a little bit of mix of good and bad, some positive, but the Ravens have some very beneficial breaks. But Brian, let's look at them. Like we talked about just like the Steelers, and the Steelers could be 0-3. I know a lot of people have the Ravens, they have them, what do you want to say, pegged to be Super Bowl contender? Fair enough to say, right? Super Bowl contender, definitely a playoff contender, a playoff team. I'll bring this a little bigger on the screen so I could get them all in here. And they got the Bills, Browns, divisional game, and the Browns have had the Ravens numbers even in their worst years.
Yeah.
The Lions, and then the Chiefs and Texans and Rams. Like, we could very well be looking at people questioning who the Baltimore Ravens are by the time they get to their bye week. That's a very tough schedule.
A beautiful 6 weeks of Ravens losses. Wouldn't that be beautiful? 0-6. I don't think there's any way they go 0-6, but it's a beautiful thing to think of, right?
It would be beautiful.
Here's the problem: the Rams are a good team, right? I think the Rams are a good team. I think the Rams could potentially beat the Ravens, but they probably won't because it's in Baltimore. The Lions they have Lions in Baltimore.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the fact that they get some of these tougher teams at home is a benefit. Like the Ravens they'll play up. They probably lose to the Chiefs in Kansas City. So, I don't think they go through that unscathed. Whether they go through it all losses, I mean, opening up at the Bills, they could easily lose that game. I mean, it's early in the season. That's one of those, extended preseasons. You don't know who the hell's going to show up, and you don't know what's going to happen. But, opening up there, and you're right, the Browns have had an uncanny ability to limit the Ravens because it's that familiarity thing, right? They know the Ravens just like we know the Ravens, and you play to your strengths. So they've had that ability to win one of those games. Whether it'll be the one in Baltimore, probably not.
And just quickly looking at the Steelers as part of the TV schedule, depending on where you're located, if you're using the old rabbit ears, the antenna, most of the games are CBS games, with the exception, of course, of the primetime games. The week 2 opener will be on Fox. The game that's in Dublin, NFL Network and NFL Plus. And then let me see, Prime Video for the Thursday game with the Bengals, as has been customary. The 2 Sunday night games against the Packers and then the Chargers weeks 8 and 10. Those are on NBC, those, national broadcast, etc. Also Peacock. And then I think everything else other than the Monday night game in Miami, at least for now, are the Monday night game, obviously ESPN and ABC simulcast. Everything else is a CBS game. So, I mean, that's pretty beneficial if that's, the Steelers are your local team. If you're trying to watch it at home, if you're worried about having to subscribe to all of these different services in order to get whatever. If you have Prime, you're pretty much locked in there for the one that's the Thursday. You might have to jump on and get NFL Plus, or if you have a cable provider or whatever that has NFL Network, then you're already set for the week 4 Ireland game, unless you're gonna go, laddie, which we don't know yet.
My lean is yes, just because I've been wanting to go back to Ireland forever. But we'll see.
Yep, we shall see, my friend. Is that the one you're most looking forward to? As far as, I mean, if you go, obviously, but as far as just as a spectator, whether you're there or whether you're not, is that the one that stands out to you on the schedule?
It does, from the standpoint of it being an event, right? It being an event, football. We talked about this once before. Cam took his podcast to Ireland. They were in Ireland and did their podcast. Not just football, with Cam Hayward and whoever that other guy is that he knows to know forever. And they talked to the guy there who's like, "Are you going to play Renegade?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to play Renegade." So it, like, just the idea of being there in this group of fans who probably almost never get to see the team, right? I just can't imagine what that atmosphere is going to be like. So I'm looking, if I go, certainly it's what I'm looking forward to. If I don't go, it's against the Vikings. That's not an event game.
I mean, we don't know, like JJ McCarthy, or what if Aaron Rodgers signs there, which I keep saying. I don't know if he even plays this year, dude. I mean, I'm over it. I'm over it.
I am really inclined to believe he simply isn't going to play anymore. Right? Yeah. That's what I'm inclined to believe at this point. I know people are like, no, you watch, he's going to show up. They had a show, the Steelers are going to go in 6 because, Mason Rudolph is going to stink and they're not going to do any good. Could happen. But, I'm not depending on Aaron Rodgers to come in and save the season. I don't really care if this season gets saved. So...
yeah, I hear you with all of that. Still some fun ones, fun venues. I'm looking at, aside from the Ireland game, if we're staying in the States, Detroit looks pretty cool to me, man. December 21st in a dome. That seems fun. I don't know, if the Lions have a season like they did last year, it's been a hot ticket. But that week 10 in LA with the Chargers, do they have fans that care? I don't know that they do. It may be yet another takeover there at SoFi. The newer stadiums, though, man, SoFi, the Allegiant, Death Star that's in Vegas.
It's so expensive.
Whew. Man, it's rough. It's some rough pricing. So I'll keep a watchful eye on that. I always think about like the different trips and places I could go. I may be burned out on traveling by week 16 if the Steelers are a 3-win game. If they're playing Will Howard and it's his first start in the NFL, it might be cool to watch, but I'm not going to go there and watch Dan Campbell's team lay 50 on them. That's if they could still do it without Ben Johnson as their OC. We don't know. So, but that's where I'm at with it. It's the same thought process as, Pickett went down, Trubisky was starting in Indy, and I'm just like, I'm not touching this with a 40-foot stick. Ain't no way.
Dude, when I priced the Chargers tickets or the Rams tickets the last time they went to LA, that was as much as my entire season ticket package for one game.
I was wild.
Like, forget it. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's wild. It's the same thing, I was telling my fiance here is, some of these games you go to, some of these places. I mean, my wrestling fans, my WWE fans can relate to this. WrestleMania was just there at the Raiders Stadium too, and the nosebleeds up there were like $600. I'm like, the floor seats were like in the thousands, and I'm just like, man, some of them $10,000, dude. Depends how close you want to be to the ring. And I'm just like, that stadium just has such a price tag on it. They got to pay for it some way. This state of the art multi-billion-dollar stadium. I could just imagine, like, if the Browns do what they're wanting to do and they move to Brook Park, the suburb just right outside of the city limits, which then they have to get, they had the Art Modell rule. They can't move out of the city, all that. So they have to bend some rules and break them in order to do it. But there's some property out there. It's, closer over to the airport side of town. And they want to build like a $2 billion facility. And I just think to myself, like, okay, you go and do that. Are your fans going to put up with paying Raiders prices or Rams prices like to finance this kind of a stadium? I don't see that in Northeast Ohio. I don't see that happening. So
it feels like it just feels premature for the Browns to be building a new stadium. I mean, they only been back in the league for what, a week?
99, but from what all the him-hawing, for those who don't know, is that the stadium was rushed, poorly constructed, this and that. They've done renovations to it, and then they also have some sketches and renderings to like add a plaza around it. I mean, they've kind of shut down the street that cuts through on game days anyway, so like they've already eliminated some of that where the Burke Airport and the parking and some of that was over on that side of it. Like they're trying to redevelop that area. There's a whole big long like city council story of that, but then they don't want, if the Browns leave there, it's like, a lot of that downtown business is not going to be around either. I don't think all the places you could go drink, party, watch games, because there's people obviously probably tailgate and then go watch it on TV and stuff too. But it's always been a parking mess there. I don't see it. It's just so expensive. And by the same token, I'm already thinking ahead to just a little bit of bonus content here. I'm thinking ahead to the 2026 NFL draft in Pittsburgh. I have no idea that I want to attend that. I'm in. I'm
going.
My goodness.
No question about it.
Do you have
a
room booked already? You're going to have to walk, because I can't imagine. You're going to need the pee bag that you strap like around your ankle, like the Times Square deal when you want to go there when the ball drops for New Year's. Because
why?
You're going to lose your spot. It's like being up at the rail at a concert. Bladder control for how long? You're either going to be dehydrated and pass out, or you're gonna piss your pants. Like, I don't know which. Like, I don't think there's an in between.
That's what Depends are for, my friend.
Oh, you're just gonna sit in it.
I'm just gonna sit there and wallow in my urine.
No. They got these. They got these things that are like almost like a catheter type thing, and works for men or women. We do have some ladies that watch the show too. They're designed the same way. They're on Amazon or whatever, and you run the string or whatever, the tube down, and you put a pouch or a sack like around your ankle or something. Where now in the summer, or if it's good weather, people are going to see your piss sack as you're walking around Pittsburgh down there.
What has happened to us?
I don't know.
That's all I'm thinking about. We're sitting here having a conversation about how to pee ourselves. What has happened to us?
I'm thinking about the people who go to concerts and are along the rail, like Pearl Jam's in Pittsburgh for the weekend, and all the people that want to get into the general admission, get into the pit, be right along the rail, and you're standing there for hours at a time. And if you're by yourself, there's no one to save your spot unless you buddied up with someone. And I'm thinking about this with the draft. It's like, how close do you have to be, there's all the VIP that they give out anyways to like the fans and all this and that win these lotteries, and they get to sit there in the nice little VIP slots and everything else. But when you're further back, I mean, there was 300,000 people in Detroit that had that plaza full. I picture where they're placing this down in Pittsburgh, and the reason I'm bringing all this up is just talking about Cleveland and how they're landlocked. The parking situation for games and getting traffic and getting out of there it sucks. It sucks just as much for Pittsburgh. Now shut everything down and put a giant stage and try and cram 300,000 people down there on any of those given days for the draft. It's going to be wild. So as much as I would love to attend, I may or may not be there. Maybe I'll go for one of the days and skip the others. It's just
my intention is to be there on Thursday night.
Okay.
That's it. Then I'm going home.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair enough, I guess. So Got a lot of travel plans here, folks, that we've been talking about. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts on the NFL schedule. I think we thoroughly covered it as best we can. Once again, Brian, thanks for joining us. You got some lozenges or cough drops or whatever. You did well, my friend.
I got to go back to for the 2%ers here. So normally when we do the schedule show, we end it by giving the way too early predictions for wins loss. And last year we were pretty close, even early into the schedule. We were pretty close. Mm-hmm. We got our butts handed to us at the end. We expected them to win a couple of those games, and they didn't. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna do that. Put the schedule back up. Let's do it.
I mean, we don't necessarily. We'll do this again in August when we got a better idea when the team.
Oh, absolutely. This is the way too early version.
Way too early. Jets win.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay, so we're 1-0. Seahawks at home, West Coast team. Darnold, yeah, give me a W there too. I'll take it.
I am gonna go.
I'm iffy,
and I'm going to say that is a season opener disappointment, and we're 1-1.
Oh, Brian, disappointing me here. I'm gonna try and track these, by the way. So Brian's got so week 1. All right, Brian does not have a victory. I'm going 3-0. I'm going on the Patriots too. Now
No, go ahead.
I don't necessarily believe my bullshit here, but I mean, they drop one of these. The Seahawks one, I feel kind of like I don't know. It could be really sloppy. So I might be with you. What do you think about the Patriots?
I don't have a ton of optimism in Drake May, but what do I know? So I'm gonna go. If it was at home, I'd go win. I'm iffy because it's on the road, but I'll. The problem is I'm gonna have them win the game in Ireland, so I'm gonna have them lose this game. So they're 1-2 now.
Okay, that's fair enough. I think that's where I'm gonna put them too, because I don't know about this Ireland game. I'm going to do it opposite. They probably have them losing against Minnesota. Minnesota is going to they're going to be very entrenched there since they're there for like 2-3 weeks. So they're going to have a base of operations, everything else. They're a 14-win team now. Does JJ McCarthy take them wherever? That's the only question mark. But I think when you're talking about JJ McCarthy and the team that's around him versus right now it's Mason Rudolph, I don't know. So I think the Vikings might be more talented there.
They could easily go 0 in all these.
Yes.
If it's just status quo. But I'm going to look at this as the Rooney game, and emotions are going to be super hyped. I think the crowd is going to be unbelievably partisan towards the Steelers to a ridiculous fashion. So I'm going to have them winning the Ireland game. Plus, if I'm going to freaking Ireland to watch this game, they damn well better win. So.
I know, right?
So 2-2. Okay. Now they're 2-2.
Let's keep them going. I don't have them losing at home.
They lose on the 5th week, so they lose the bye.
They're gonna beat the Browns. They have a bye week. Cleveland's coming back from London.
3-2. I agree.
Week 7 lost to the Bengals Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Packers at home Sunday night football. That's gonna be interesting. I don't know who they are by then. I'm gonna say the Packers probably get them. Colts, I think they could beat the Colts.
4-4. I'm with you. So far, I'm with you 100%.
Yep. I'm counting. Let's see. Chargers. Ooh, I might have to come back to that one. That's on the road. It is a night game. It's West Coast.
It's on the road. It's a night game. It's a hard travel, but it is a takeover game. It's a Harbaugh game. I'm going to give them the win because they tend to play well in front of the home crowd that shows up for the Steelers. So, all right, let's see. 5-4 now?
Well, I'll get you in a second here. Let me see. The Bengals at home. I think they got to trade games with the Bengals.
Have to. Again. They have to win that game.
Bears. I think they got the Bears.
Yep.
Bills. I don't feel confident about that, especially the Bills will have it figured out, but then they're another slow starter usually.
Yep.
Ravens in Baltimore. Nope. Don't like that either. Dolphins at home, I do like that one.
I'll take the win.
Lions on the road, probably not.
A loss.
Browns in Cleveland.
Win. Yep.
Maybe a coin flip. You got them with Baltimore at home too. Depends if Baltimore's sitting people by this point.
Yeah, I'm going win-win at the end of the year.
Okay, all right. So we almost have everything the same. I've got them down for 10, and you actually have them down for 11. I was going to spitball it and just say 10.
How do I have them down for? Wait, go back. I need to count this again. How the hell do I have them down for 11 wins?
All right, you got them for the Jets, the Patriots,
the
Vikings.
I'm losing the Jets game.
Oh, you're losing the Jets game. Okay, so you're at 10 wins then.
Oh, no, maybe I did. Maybe I said they were going to win that game. So win, lose, win. So I have them at 2-2.
Okay. So you did not have them for the Patriots.
Right. On October 12th, I have them beating the Browns at home. So now they're 3-2. Lose to the Bengals, lose to the Packers. That makes them, what, 3-5?
I don't know, dude, but I know we're getting.
I don't believe in them for a minute that I have them at 11 wins.
We're getting deep. We're getting deep in the weeds with this one, so we're gonna let it go. But you just said you don't believe you have them with 10 wins, is what you're saying?
I'm thinking 9 is what I'm thinking.
Okay, 9 wins. Still 500. So Tomlin's winning seasons aren't as in jeopardy as we would think, right?
I do think it's 9 wins and they miss the playoffs.
Ooh, that's a possibility. We'll look at more of that as we take a look at the other teams around the AFC and AFC North. I think we'll do a little, maybe way too early predictions on the next show. Definitely, maybe a little more than this, and try and get a couple. We may have a rabbit or two up our sleeve. We'll see. We'll see if we get any more news. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on the schedule and any other thoughts, any other things you would like to see us discuss here on the show. Until next time, that's my buddy, Mr. Brian E. Roach. Like I said, man, the cough drops or whatever you had, that was working out pretty good. So thanks for. I know you're not. Your voice is. Yeah, your voice is dead. All the sparkling water. But it still worked out. So, until next time, folks. My name's Joe. His name's Brian. We encourage everyone out there to, until next time, we encourage everyone out there to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.